you wanted something more from life, you had to go outside to get it.
If you can't get money here in Harlem, you can't get no money nowhere.
You heard of 3 the hard way? Well, this was the real 3 the hard way. Alpo, AZ, and Rich Porter.
They was the mayor of Harlem, all 3 of them together.
The small fry motherfuckers that was running errands, man, for them niggas back in the 70s, was bosses, man.
It's like everybody here is Michael Jordan in comparison to using the NBA. Everybody's a superstar.
But Harlem niggas was the most super flamboyant fly niggas on earth, man.
Even the big dudes that was in Queens, the big dudes that was in the Bronx, the big dudes that was in Brooklyn, they was all coming to Harlem.
It was coke, it was dope, it was crack.
Everything was selling.
I don't think nobody in the city was moving coke and crack like what's going on in Harlem.
We was the youngest niggas probably in history to ever do it the way we did it.
Al wasn't the richest nigga in Harlem, but he was one of the most popular because of the shit that he was doing.
Well, people knew him as Alpo. I knew him as Negro.
He was just like every other kid in the hood, man. We was all trying to find something to take our mind off the fact that we was fucked up.
Because everybody thought he was black, but he was just a dark-skinned Puerto Rican.
That nigga speaks Spanish very well.
The 70s and 80s was rough.
The state of black America is still very grim.
Mom's on welfare, you know, dad's not at home.
He was a good kid, without a doubt, man. He was a damn good kid. He was very humble about a lot of things.
As far as I know, it was always his mom who did everything.
Mostly you seen Poe, and you seen his youngest sister.
If he had a problem with somebody or something like that, and his moms come down, his moms are like, be like, yo, that's my son, don't touch him. She be on the front line.
Poe just, for some reason, always stood out.
Mother always had him into, she was always taking him like to camp.
He was going away to fresh air fund. We all did that.
He stayed the summer with a white family. I think there was another little boy that the family had that was their son, and Al was like their son. He spent every summer with the same family. They always wanted him back.
He was just part of the family. We just accepted him to come. We just liked to have him every year.
He really was a good kid. Nobody, I can't imagine anybody not liking Albert, and that proved to be the case once he got here. When your first time you met him, you just liked him.
He adapted to that, which was good, because he was able to see how different people grow up.
Going to the boys club, wanted to be a Marine, wanted to be a cadet.
And they loved him over there. I mean, you can go to 3rd Avenue on 111th Street, and his pictures were everywhere.
If you didn't have a strong structure, it's like you could easily lose it, because you'll be outside, learn how to try to make a buck.
We have a community filled with drugs, and on the streets we have young people who seem hopeless and are hopeless.
They have no guidance by looking at the motherfucker that was working. The nigga that was working was struggling.
It was 3 of us. Me, Poe, my man, Mario. You know what I mean? And us 3 like that, we was about money, man.
Like any other kid, he didn't want to be depending on his mother all the time.
Anybody that know East River Project is right on the drive. So we would take a garbage can and throw it on the FDR drive.
And now to slow the traffic down, then we'll go to the back.
When it congests, niggas just walking alongside the barrier till you see that white chick with that purse open, with that yak or that nice diamond chain or whatever, and we just yap it.
Jump back over the wall and run through the project.
But I guess that didn't work out for him.
He got a phone call from his mother, I think, asking if he could come up here.
When he came up the last time and we asked him what trouble he was in, eventually when he told us, he said he was a runner. And I think he said that was carrying drugs or something from one place to another.
I really remember when he was real young, and a certain OG around the way had him on the corner.
Yeah, Alpo used to work for me back in the days and shit,
And he was out there hustling, and I was like, yo, what that nigga doing out? Why he always out there? He said, man, that nigga, he's selling that shit.
Poe be the first one out, be cold as hell. So Poe was really trying to get that money. I seen he really want that money. You gotta be out there 6 in the morning to fuck with that heroin and shit. So Alpo used to come get a nigga at 5:30. We still be sleep. Poe come out, be early in the morning, and he have a knot too already, because he done caught them things, you know what I mean?
That nigga started popping, he was about 13. He was like one of the youngest cats out. He started real young.
It was that very last time that he came, And he must have been only like 15 and a half, and he had the big chains on, the big gold chains.
The kids around here noticed these things immediately and started asking questions.
At this time and age, that might be normal, but I'm talking about back in 78, you understand, a 13, 14-year-old kid, you know, 79, that wasn't normal.
He was very street smart, and he would observe everything.
Nigga had the eye of the tiger and he was hungry, man.
Poe wasn't drinking, Poe wasn't smoking no weed, Poe didn't do nothing. You know, Poe was strictly about getting paper and putting that shit away.
There's some shit like LeBron James got it. Michael Jordan had it. Poe had it.
When my nigga Al met my man Shorty Love, and my man Love showed this nigga the way what this is.
His game wasn't aggressive at all.
When he got with Randy, the beast came out with him.
When Alpo met Randy, somehow Randy installed an aggressiveness in him, and he just went ahead and did his damn thing.
And he learned, like, listen, if you want to get in the game, you gotta be 110% sure, because a nigga would take you out, and never underestimate the man that don't get nothing.
My niggas and them was going on the grind and stick the motherfucking Dominicans up, and they had to send a nigga in there, like my nigga Poe he knew Spanish. They didn't know he knew Spanish. So when they was talking that laga, he was on the side letting niggas know what to do.
As soon as Poe get in the house, nigga tell you, he'll tell you, man, this is on the second floor. Bam, just come up here and kick the door down.
Watch out for this nigga. The gun is over there. The coke is over here. The keys over there.
So he buying it. Yo, listen, hold up, I gotta go to the car and get some more money. That's when niggas come in and stick everything up.
The adrenaline that Poe got, that shit felt so good to anybody, frankly, but the adrenaline felt so good, man, it gave him a rush. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Let's go up here and put pressure on these motherfucking niggas across town, and we get a bunch of keys and we just lock the whole area up. Yo, they had the whole east side on lockdown, man, for real. They had the whole east side on lockdown.
He was only 15 years old when he blew up, and it was like overnight.
He was like a Josie Ware on the Outlaws. He had a posse. When them niggas rolled, they was no joke. Them niggas, if they went into your house and it was drama, them niggas even turned the fish tank over. They didn't leave no witnesses in that game.
After he learned what that heart felt like and how ruthless he had to be to maintain his game and get them papers, he got that.
It was a time when he would joke around, but when he was serious,
that Puerto Rican would come out of him in a minute.
The game was rough, so he just, you know, he put his grind on.
He had stick-up kids in check. You know, he was checking stick-up niggas. He was telling niggas, listen, that's my spot, don't fuck with that. And they wasn't fucking with it.
And it was funny to watch this young teenage kid work 45, 30-year-old men, and how he would work them and tell them to go to the store and get him a sandwich. Go over there, do this for me, and how they would listen and respect him.
A new secret offensive is underway tonight in the war on illegal drugs. It is aimed at stopping the supply of cocaine.
Timing was everything, because all the older hustlers had faded out, and the game was wide open.
This is the kind of lucrative profit that's in this whole business. Which one of you is asking where we're going to get the money? This is going to help the deficit being reduced, huh? There it is.
This whole area right here was nothing but the tires. They had the drug shit locked down. But them niggas, so many of them niggas was getting knocked off, and niggas was going to jail, and niggas was snitching on them.
So that allowed the Colombians to come in and fill the void.
Yo, they started giving it to a nigga cheaper than what the Chinese was giving it to a nigga for.
Their production is equal to nearly 3 times the amount of cocaine that was brought into the United States last year.
These countries who say they're our friends and they're our allies, they're destroying us. They're going to turn us into a banana republic.
We're not fighting a war, but we darn sure are losing the battle.
America's already starting to take that message to heart. Tons of cocaine have been destroyed.
The United States has sent 6 Black Hawk assault helicopters and 160 U.S. Army pilots and maintenance personnel to Bolivia.
The Dominicans had it, they needed somebody to move it. You know what I'm saying? The blacks was the ones that could move it.
A revolutionized the shit.
When you heard Poe, you heard Rich. When you heard Rich, you heard A. Before you heard of Alpo, you heard AZ.
I was getting joints for a dirt price, man. I don't think nobody on the street can compete with the prices I was getting. But
he came out with a gimmick. Like everybody else was selling little small bottles. He came out with the GP35s and was selling them shits for like dimes, and he killed them.
This big for $10. You know, when niggas was selling shit this big for $50, this is how A blew. These niggas was getting real money.
This is the good part of New York City.
And you come up here for a dime?
You know, everybody in the city knew about the jukebox.
I mean, people started seeing the lines, and I mean, it was ridiculous, man. I mean, that's why you had to bottle up everything at one time, because you never knew when the crowd was gonna be there, you know. And I mean, it was ridiculous, man. I mean, you know, we used to have to tell people, y'all stand on the other side. I mean, that's how much that joint was moving. And I mean, if you think about it, we was giving them close to a half a gram for $10.
We learn that a prominent athlete has died because he took cocaine.
You couldn't go buy this from nobody else. You couldn't go buy the material that they had. They had it really fucking good, man.
When Poe went over there and got that money with them West Side niggas,
got introduced to AZ, this big player, young kid in the game.
The nigga just totally took charge of shit, man. You know what I mean? A didn't have to tell him what to do and how to move. He knew how to move. You know what I mean? The nigga was a wolf.
He was kind of aggressive. You understand what I'm saying? I guess A took a liking to that, and you know, he immediately put him down.
I believe Alpo wanted it more than the other cats that was around me.
he wanted to see how far he could take that shit.
Like, he was more like, I want this shit, man. I love this shit, man.
He was destined to be rich, man.
AZ used to test me sometimes. You know, he used to give me a certain amount of bricks and tell me to go bottle them up. You know, he didn't play that. You know what I'm saying? Like, A didn't play that, man. You know.
We had to sit down there and bottle 10 bricks. He gonna sit down there with me and make sure each, you know, bottle before he go out to work.
Because the spot on 45th Street was moving so fast that it was doing 2 or 3 bricks a day. You know what I'm saying?
A took a liking to him because he was about his business.
Say, for instance, Connect give me 100 bricks, and they say, okay, give me $1 million. I'm not going to bring the Connect back 999,000,099 cents. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make sure they have that penny to make it $1 million. Even if a nigga fucked up my shit, whatever, that's not their business. That's my business. You understand? I take it out mine and here, boom. Why? Because as soon as they say, I say here, they say here. You understand? And then they be in a position like, and thought like, man, I don't want to lose this cat. This cat is loyal. And to me, loyalty brings forth royalty.
You know, I seen the bigger picture. And he played fair, so it was no need to be petty, you know, because he wasn't petty with me.
He had ideas, he had ambition, you know what I'm saying? He had dreams, and he wasn't letting nobody get in the way. No means necessary, nobody wasn't getting in the way of his plans.
He never let A down in the streets when it was crunch time.
When we was young and we was down the hill, we was getting paper, a whole lot of it. And there used to be dudes down there getting short paper. They wasn't really getting no real paper, but, you know, they didn't extort us or nothing like that, but they would wait for A to leave, and then they'll go stick the joint up.
You know, A is the kind of person that's, you know, he don't want the problem.
He called a semi-meeting with Stanley, his brother, and asked them did they want the spot.
Now, he gave opportunity for anybody that was in the crew before Alpo came along to get the jukebox.
But they were so used to being spoon-fed that they wasn't ready to leave the nest.
Everybody was used to kind of everything being smooth. You know, when you was working with A, everything was just smooth. It wasn't no headaches, it wasn't no murder game or none of that.
So when it came to me, I was like, hell yeah.
I went in there with a broom and swept up all the bullshit, and it became what it needed to be.
Now I got me a gold mine, because I still seen the gold mine in it. And I was willing to protect it at any means necessary. And if that meant taking somebody's life or killing somebody because they trying to take something that's mine, then so be it.
And when they know within 6 months, nigga just blew up.
I know Alpo blew off the jukebox. That really put Alpo in the game.
2:30 this morning when police in the Bronx were called to the Sagamore Apartments at 167th Street and the Grand Concourse.
I fell back after I got shot in 87.
The caller said a man was shot on the 3rd floor. When the cops got there, the door to apartment 3B was open.
I'm falling back because, you know, police is on me now. What the fuck is this dude? Everybody talking about. My name was low before when I got shot. With so many motherfuckers at the hospital, it brought forth, yo, who the fuck is this?
We do believe that it had something to do with the narcotics.
The game is so deep that it goes into people's families. That people's families are hurting one another just to get what they can get. It's that ugly.
The person that set that situation up
was A's sister's boyfriend.
The victims told police about of the Bronx. Well, the cops tracked him down in Pennsylvania. He surrendered on Monday, and they brought him back to our town today.
I remember when this kid first came home. You know, I remember A buying him a car, you know, giving him some money, putting some money in his pocket.
For what? For money? For money that you could have got from him? But you jeopardized somebody else's life for this? And you a family member?
You got to understand that, you know, getting shot, you know, 5, 6, 7 times, you know, seeing your life flash in front of your face, amount of money don't mean shit. You know, money don't mean nothing no more. You just want to live.
I felt like if I just stay away from it all, man.
And it got to the point, you know, where A was just falling back.
Cats wasn't trying to hear me, man. Like when I told them, like, them niggas know everything, man. Who's who, what's what. Niggas like, yeah, whatever, man. We gonna still keep getting this money.
Rich ain't shot. Poe ain't shot. You know, these niggas is still wanting to go hard. You understand what I'm saying? So I figure at that point on, when A kind of stepped back, you know, Poe and Rich stepped up.
Me and my man Rich relationship became real strong. You know, it's like we became brothers.
Rich and Al were the two of the flyest niggas in Harlem. I mean, they were the originators of that, you know, you buy a car, I gotta buy the gear, I gotta buy the jewelry to match the car.
See, these niggas had matching jewelry that matched their cars. Niggas wasn't up on that.
Niggas was like Batman and Robin. When you seen one, you seen the other. You know, these niggas started copying cars together.
We was like the first young dudes in Harlem to bust out with the convertible BMs. You know what I'm saying?
Niggas had the American dream. Whatever you thought you saw in a magazine, that shit went down 7th Avenue.
That's why everybody used to come out on the streets and just watch.
Everybody drove sitting up straight. He bought the leaning way back in the seat all crazy.
He had the 350Z when he came to the Avenue and that shit, young boy.
With the T-top, with the beads on it. He had a bucket hat on. He had his son with him.
Now you still see niggas, man, when they drive their cars, the seat is all the way back. Rich and Poe started that shit.
They was young boys coming out, getting paid. I mean, getting paid.
A lot of people were making money, but Alpo really stuck out. He had the best of both worlds. Negro stuck out from anybody. He had the looks, he had the charm, he had the money.
I was so scared because it was so much money.
There was one time we were there watching a movie and he came in with like bags, like black bags of money.
And the shit was filled to the top with money.
Dumped it on the floor and asked me and his sister to separate all the 5s, the 10s, and the 20s. And I'm like, I'm not sitting here separating all that money.
My cousin got into the drugs and they couldn't keep up with Alpo.
And getting keys? Oh my God. We were delivering those like the mailman delivered mail.
He would come on a motorcycle and he would like, you know, what's up? You got that for me? And my cousin's like, shh, yeah, I got it. And he's like, man, here, man. And he give him 15,000. Here you go. Here's 15,000. Where is it? And he looks at it. It's a key of Coke. Okay, a key of Coke. And he puts it in and stuffs it down his pants. Big fucking key, stuffs it down his pants. Gets on the bike and he's like, all right. And he's like, I'll see you later. And all of a sudden I look. He comes back around the block. Woo, woo, woo. And I said, oh my God. And he's doing a fucking wheelie. And all of a sudden, the fucking key falls and breaks down 1st Avenue. A fucking key. Then I hear, Argh! And he spins around and gets off the bike, puts the bike on a kickstand, and starts picking as much of what he can salvage.
When he got that money, he let niggas know he had money because the nigga was wearing shit that nobody else wasn't wearing.
He took a style like Dapper Dan and made it a mainstream.
Every hustler that was getting money was going to Dapper Dan and getting their own stuff custom made. You know what I'm saying? They blew Dapper Dan up so big.
Boxes like Mike Tyson was coming to town buying Gucci outfits.
The first time I seen him with a Louis Vuitton trench coat with the fur on it in the rink.
The nigga had the rust-colored Timbs on. Pay attention to the year that was that the pictures was taken. Shit is rust on his feet. You know what I'm saying? Matching that jacket.
He was just setting trends all over Harlem, all over New York City.
He brought the adrenaline to the street.
When we come down 8th Avenue up our 55th and all that, we bring the whole hood out.
We would have our games up at the Rucker, you know what I'm saying? It'd be jam-packed. Pookie Wilson be playing, Rambo be playing, a lot of dunks, a lot of action, and all of a sudden you hear this run. The street knew they was coming.
They all lined up.
This nigga standing up doing 20 block wheelies.
Looking at everybody, catching all the life.
With his shit hanging in the air like this.
Evil Knievel had nothing on Alpo.
So all of a sudden the crowd is looking. I mean, they're not even paying attention to the game.
You see the whole crowd just in the middle of the street, looking down the street, just following them.
This the only nigga I know, DJ Hollywood, used to make Alpo special tapes only.
Me and Brucey B would be rocking in the rooftop so hard.
And then at the rooftop, man, you would think I was selling drugs in the joint.
When Alpo came in, everybody like, oh, Alpo here, Alpo here.
Him and Richard give us stacks of money to take pictures with, and I mean stacks like bricks.
My man, Poe, he's in the building. Brucey B, you know how I used to do it.
My main man, AZ in the house. Along with Rich Porter, man, you know how we doing it. Yo, I need y'all to the DJ booth right away.
All these cats would run up to Alpo and make sure they buy tickets. You know how much he was buying a mixtape for back then?
We get a knot like this, yo. Never got a knot for a cassette tape in your life.
I'll give you $200 for a 60-minute tape, as long as you say his name.
He even inspired niggas musically to do what they did.
We would be the bad boys of the record business. The true bad boys of the record business.
Alpo's name became probably more famous in the street than Alpo, the dog food, became for the fucking canines.
He had so much fun, it wasn't even like a business thing.
Niggas looked up to him like a superhero because he was a young cat doing it, getting a lot of money, man, and he made young cats want to get money.
Al wasn't the richest nigga in Harlem.
He gave
I never knew him to be.
everybody.
Never.
He gave everybody.
But he was one of the most popular because of the shit that he was doing.
Hustlers used to put francs all the way, food, stuff to eat, all the way down the whole entire block.
Niggas used to stand on line.
Bus ride, they'd give it. Every year, every block had a bus ride.
Whoever want to go can go.
Money was nothing to him.
Everything motherfucking free, going down Virginia Beach.
And when we went to Virginia Beach, when I met him,
You see him walking through with his crew members, everybody. He having fun, snapping at everybody.
It'd be a crowd of people. He might rush through the crowd and be like, watch out, she got a gun, and start trampling motherfuckers.
He just had that about him, that charismatic shit, that everybody just wanted to be around him.
You seen Alpo, he got that Kool-Aid smile. Once he smiled, it's like his whole shit get Chinese on your ass.
well, I didn't know about guys in New York, but I knew I met the right group of guys.
He was one of the first cats to come through, man, in a beach buggy, you know, with some big wheels and systems and all that, and it really kind of like blew everybody's mind.
Everybody stops and you could just hear whispers going, yo, that's Al. Yo, that's Al.
Money wasn't an issue with them. I told you, they were throwing this stuff around like it was toys and stuff, and in the hotel room.
Well, he would bring like at least six different girls that's coming to New York to meet people.
When I went back to New York and I got with him, it really was like whatever K want.
If you was a young girl that was dating one of those young guys, you was this shit.
And he continuously would say that. It's alright to be spoiled. It's alright to want your man to spoil you. So, I'm loving this.
If you had a girl and you liked her, she was getting a new BMW.
I want a new car. Got it. I want to move. Where? You know what I'm saying? I need some money. Here. Take what you want.
If it wasn't the jewelry, it was the trips they were taking, it was the girls driving around in the cars, the mink coats, the diamonds and all that.
We went up New York on the 4th of July.
The motherfucker did some real John Gotti shit.
He'd say, I want to get some fireworks for the kids for 105th. And he would go to the Italians on Pleasant Avenue. And the Italians were really shady about him, like, who is this guy? So they were like, what do you need? We'll bring it out to you. And he's like, really, I want to see what you got. And he's like, well, how much money do you want to spend? Actually, I want to see what you got.
The Italians come fuck with him. How the Italians be doing all that fireworks and shit, they come fuck with him.
We spent about $20,000, a van full of fireworks.
He said, I want it all. I'm taking the whole room. How much? And they added it all up, and I think it came to maybe 15,000, 20,000. He's like, okay, here. And give him the 20,000. And they would just look because they were like trying to be mafioso, and fucking this black John Gotti just came in and just bought the whole fucking place from him.
They outlined the whole basketball court.
It was about 25 of us. It took that many people to light every fireworks.
4th of July, he blew up the whole crowd. He did the Michael Jackson, man.
It used to be pitch, it used to be dark outside. He'll light this whole shit up like it was daytime.
know, everybody waiting on Alpo to ask Alpo for some money. Like, yo, wait till he start doing this rap, we gonna ask this nigga for money. Then he blew up a whole bag of shit where it was a cloud of smoke. Where the fucking basketball court corner find, that nigga disappeared like Michael Jackson and shit just disappeared on the nigga. Nobody knew where that nigga disappeared. When someone smoked. When the smoke cleared, Poe was gone. That shit was like amazing to everybody.
That's when it was like, you know what I'm saying, nigga was like on top of the world, son.
The drug epidemic is as dangerous as any terrorist that we face. It is serious. It is an epidemic, and it
New York's Washington Square Park. Police here are cracking down on crack dealers, searching for those selling the newest and most potent drug in town.
When crack hit Harlem, man, it was crazy, man. I mean, everybody and their mother was smoking.
It's a drug that started on 145th Street and went to 42nd Street in 3 months. And 3 months after that, it went from 42nd Street to the entire Northeast.
First Avenue was a fucking drug market. Every building in the project had a different color top.
When the crack epidemic hit, you understand, the small fry motherfuckers that was running errands, man, for them niggas back in the 70s, was bosses, man.
When you look to your left, there was another 18-year-old doing something. You look to your right, there was somebody else doing it. You look behind you, it's like it was just the norm. So you didn't feel like you was doing anything wrong. Like, you know, nobody could have said to you, yo, man, young boy, slow down, so on and so forth, because he would have had to tell everybody that was, you know, in his eyesight to do the same thing.
Heroin didn't do nothing compared to what crack did.
We're talking about the drug that is responsible for the largest single dollar value in the United States, cocaine in general, and crack in New York has become the preferred form of cocaine.
You seen some of the baddest bitches in the world becoming crackheads. I mean, chicks that you wanted to probably make your wife that was looking so fucking fine was looking like shit in a matter of months, just shriveled up, gone.
It's an amazing phenomenon to see what's happened. 3 months ago, you could only buy crack in 2 or 3 areas in this city. Today, in 90 days, you can buy it in almost any neighborhood in this city.
Everything is shrinking. The fraction of how much money you're making, everything is going down with each change of the drug.
Well, we all understand what that means. That means that the supply is going up, up, and up. And so the price per kilo is going down, down, and down.
Heroin took people a fraction down. Cocaine took fractions a little further down. Crack took fractions of people and made them absolutely nothing. I mean, guys that was really on and popping became nothing behind crack. I used to be on the avenue late night, so I remember Al, it was a BM, it was a Jeep, they pulled up on the avenue. And then I'm standing out there, you know, I'm all fucked up on that shit. And you know, back in the days, you know, people just hit me. And I was younger, I was like 5 years younger than me. So I'm gonna say Alpo, so I'm saying that day, Alpo came out there one day with all the rich niggas, you know, I don't know where them niggas was from. But they all got out the car and said, Alpo came to me and said, yo, do you believe I do some work? We should be hustling out here for this nigga? Now look at this nigga.
They would sell or give or do whatever to obtain it.
I was always, when I see Poe car parked outside, I run the Poe window, yo, Poe, what's up? Throw a nigga some change. So just for a joke, I think Poe took it as a joke. He shot at me and shit, you know, and it hit the tree. Then I left, you know, and I came back. I seen Poe getting into his car. I said, Poe, what's up? He laughed. He said, you a stupid nigga, but I shoot at you, you still come to me. Then he hit me up with like a couple hundred and said, yo, go ahead, cut away.
Crack era just changed everything around, man.
It wasn't like back in the 80s or 81, 82 when Al, Rich, and A were in pocket and that's all you heard was those 3 names. It ain't like that no more. Now every little small fry got a block, got a spot, and now things are changing.
Down the block on First Avenue was like the coke and the dope. Every 10, 20 steps, it was like when the cops blitzed, they didn't know who to go after.
Get back inside.
When I came home in '87, man, A, Rich, and Poe had already split up.
All 3 of us was doing our own thing. You know, me, A, and Rich, we was all doing our own thing.
They all had different plans, you know what I'm saying? And as he grew, his plans grew. You understand what I'm saying? And, you know, he wanted to get money.
I give a nigga Poe a lot of credit, you understand, for being his age and getting the money that he was getting here in New York City. How he used to get up, man, to hit that road, go down 95, man, and go to all the other different states and shit, man.
New Yorkers, it wasn't nothing for us
especially in the 80s and the 70s, for us to pack up and go down to D.C.
And if anybody knows about D.C. in the 80s, it was like the murder capital.
And this town used to be the town to be in. Everybody was getting money.
D.C. took them to a whole nother level. We flooded D.C. so much, there was times I would go down to D.C. and I would see more New York dudes on the block than I would see D.C. dudes on the block.
You know, he kept coming back, man, like larger than life, larger than life.
He came from the jump for me because I asked him come. I didn't want to go back up there, so I told him come down here.
So now, 45th Street starting to become a headache to me. So I'm starting to say to myself, you know what, I'm going to leave this thing alone. It's too many problems. So in the process of doing that, the girl Karen invites me down to D.C. So I go on down there, I get my jewelry together in my car, and I go down there by myself. So when I'm down there, I'm getting to know everybody in D.C.
All the niggas from out of town was feeling them also.
He was a happy-go-lucky person, you know, just smiling, hug me, talk to me like he'd been knowing me for years, you know, and right off the bat, he called me Mom.
I would go to work. He would wait at my house all day.
He was tired of sitting around in here, you know, waiting for Karen to come from work.
Then he started going out on his own.
And he learned D.C. better than I knew D.C.
He would like to go out with my sister and her friends.
He would hang with me and Wendy in the clubs. We would take him to the go-go's.
The nigga smile is what captured everybody.
And he embracing all these DC niggas. You know, he hit these niggas off with a lot of cake, you know, buying niggas cars. They going out to Eddie Leonard's, going shopping and all that.
He came right, you know what I'm saying? He ain't come trying to take over nothing or move in on this or cut into that.
Whenever a nigga was giving you like 50 keys on consignment, man, how could you go wrong?
Poe wasn't making $300,000-$400,000 in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? He was making that in D.C.
That nigga had a connect. You can't do nothing but blow up when you got a connect like that. You can't do nothing but get money.
And that's how he became really as large as he was, because his competition at the time, if you know, for those who know, was the kid Ray from Evans, and he was, you know, labeled as a $300 million nigga.
He was like one of the biggest cats coming up out of D.C. He doing life now. But I wound up meeting him, and when he went to jail,
he did get even more popular because he from New York. He coming down here. He trying to beat everybody prices, you know.
That's when I really really took over the town. You know what I'm saying?
The Poe situation, when he went out of town to D.C., he started getting extremely a lot of money.
When I saw Alpo's turning point is when Rich died.
I was on my way to Otisville Penitentiary, upstate New York, to see someone. And Alberto had already told me prior to that you know somebody kidnapped Richard's brother and they want money and they stuck his finger in the recording and left it, you know, all that. So it's like a van to take you up to the prisons up New York. They got the transportation service to take you. So I'm waiting with this girl from D.C. I went with her. We waiting for the transportation van. I see the paper with Richard's brother on the front page. So I pick it up so I can buy it and read it, because, you know, Alberto already told me that the little boy was kidnapped. So I'm reading, and they found Richard. So right then and there, you know, that was my friend too. I got like emotional, you know, because he told me Richard's brother, but Richard wasn't dead at this point. So I'm reading the paper, and that's a hell of a way to find out.
And she called me and told me that she had saw it in the paper about Richard and his brother had gotten killed. And I was like, whoa, you know, and I was scared and I was shocked, and I, you know, scared because she was up there in New York where all these things was happening, you know. And so, you know, I think I told her to come on home or something. So Alberto happened to call me right after I talked to Karen, and I told him that I had just talked to her and what she had saw in the paper about Richard, you know. And he was like, whoa, when? And I said, you know, I just talked to her. And she was saying that she had the paper. He said, oh my God. He said, call Karen and tell her to come home. Get from up there down. She don't need to be up there. Too much crazy stuff going on. So I was like, okay. He said, damn. He said, you sure? And I was like, sure, I'm sure. She just called me and told me. He said, oh my God. He said, well, tell her, call her back and tell her I said to come on home. Get from up there now.
And she said, I told Alberto what you told me. So she was like, and he left this number. He said, call soon as you get, back to this lady's house, call. So I called, and he was like, bring the paper that you saw that in. It was like he didn't know, so I'm like, hold up. And he was like, you don't need to be up there. Stay right there. I'm going to call number 10. I'm like, who the hell is number 10? I'm going to call number 10 or something to come and get you to bring y'all home. You don't need to be up there right now. So I get to my mother's, and he meet me there. He read the paper. He had me fooled. He reading it and dropped his head like he upset, and I'm like, just watching, like, I'm getting all teary-eyed and stuff, like, damn, they killed Richard. I can't believe this.
He went through the whole 9 yards, like, he ain't know nothing about it and all.
He was like, he lost his best friend.
Alpo walked in the restaurant with this girl. I'm like, wow, I ain't seen this dude in a minute. He sits down. We acknowledge each other. We go outside like men. Like, yo, first thing he said, yo, hey man, why everybody think I did that to Rich?
There was times where I saw him after that happened to my brother, and he couldn't even look at me.
Why Pat and her mom going around saying I did this to Rich? I'm like, yo fam, man, they not the only ones saying that shit. There's a lot of people feeling that way. He said, yo, if you think if I was to give them $50,000 apiece, man, they let it go. I said, yo fam, look man, you shook hands. I said, do what you think is best, man. When he said that to me, he told me, he confirmed me and my thoughts that he did that.
Now I know it probably was just his guilt, but at that time, my mother said from day one through the door, Alpo killed my son.
But I know the thing is, did I kill Rich? Yes. Why did I kill Rich? It wasn't personal. It was business.
How could you kill something you love, man? That's real confusing to me, man. How could you kill something that love you?
Like I said to you before about the coke, Rich was lying to me about something that I felt he had no reason to lie to me about. And in my mind, it told me that if he could let this little bit of money come between what I thought was a beautiful relationship, friendship, then no telling what he would sell me down the line for.
But on some real shit, man, you shouldn't have did that to Rich, man. Shouldn't have did it, man. I don't give a fuck, man.
I gave him the opportunity to tell me the truth, not once, but twice. So when I came with the plan with my little man, and I said if he lied to me, then we just gonna do what I said. That's what happened.
You could have did anything, man. It could have been forgotten, man. Forgiven, man. Damn, man. Not that, though. Shit, man.
I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I will say that,
Richard died, he was here to stay for sure.
So I wound up going back to girl Karen and her family.
Hearing about Alpo this, Alpo that, and dudes ask me, you know that dude?
He was well known because he went everywhere. He was in every little crack in every little corner. He wanted to be popular. He wanted to know everybody.
Things were changing also down here, see. The game was changing. The streets was changing.
He helped a lot of niggas out. Niggas was in jail. He bailing motherfuckers out, you know what I'm saying? He hit niggas off with money, giving motherfuckers opportunity to get money, man.
You go out, he with anybody. He hanging with anybody.
He was around a whole bunch of grimy niggas.
There's another element to this game, and it's called the wolf. It's called the stick-up kid. It's called the snatch kid.
You can't trust everybody. They don't know you. You ain't from here. You get money. Be careful.
And you have to be aware that these niggas exist, man. This is a reality. This is a reality. You can't deny it, and you can't get away from it. And it's all a part of the game. This is a package deal.
I was at home watching television, And a nurse called me, and she was like, "Do you know a Albert Hill?" And I'm like, "No, why?" She was like, "Because he was just shot. The helicopters is taking him to such and such hospital, and he gave your name."
I got shot because they was trying to kidnap me in D.C.
So I'm thinking, where he get shot? She was like, "He got shot in his body. He's in surgery." They didn't even know if he was going to make it. They couldn't tell us that.
Only thing that saves me this day is as I'm talking to this dude, he looks over my shoulder. And as he looks over my shoulder, I follow his eyes. And as I follow his eyes, I see about 4 dudes coming to grab me. Next thing you know, I start running. And when I start running, I hear these bullets coming over my head, and one hit me in the ribs.
He made it out of surgery, and they had him in the recovery room.
Looking in his eyes, like he was, like he hope he don't die.
They had all this stuff hooked up to him, and the machine was breathing for him.
Seeing him like that, I just tried to keep talking to hold back tears because I just wanted to cry, you know.
I felt like, damn, he met her. He down here on the strength for her. Now he done got out here. We didn't introduce him to all these people. I hope he don't die, but he pulled through. But I was nervous for him.
I could see it changed. He had no choice but to change. I mean, you down here, niggas shooting you, trying to rob you now. It's like, to me, he knew I got to step my game up, you know, because they like, if they can do it and get away with it, his attitude was like, everybody gonna start trying to come at him then.
Al said, man, you know, killers respect killers, man. Nobody can take a shit from Al.
I definitely had the understanding that what I was doing wasn't right, but that's what I had to do for me.
It was like, you know, drugs and murder was like steak and eggs. It was, both of them go, and they taste very good together.
Everybody murderers, man. But think, you heard? Just under the right circumstances, whether they're going to withdraw it or not. If he wouldn't have had that killing incident when he went to D.C., he would have never made it out of D.C.
Alpo brought in his partner, which was Wayne Perry.
I mean, this kid had D.C. in fear. I mean, this kid just didn't care. He was murdering everything that was moving.
When Poe hooked up with Wayne, that was the best thing that happened to Poe.
The average dude getting money down here would have loved to have Wayne on their team. And he had Wayne on his team.
Alberta was characterized as the kingpin of the organization, and Mr. Perry was characterized as the enforcer.
Poe had the money and the coke. Wayne had the power.
These his new friends.
If you're going to get something from Alpo, you best to pay it back, because if not, Wayne is going to handle it.
Ain't no freebies, ain't all that nice shit stopping.
Wayne's MO was more so than, fuck that nigga, let's get rid of him.
If you wasn't on their team, then watch out, because if you had something they wanted, they was coming to get it.
Law enforcement authorities have been able to make more than 350 arrests prior to today and to seize more than 19,000 pounds of cocaine, which have a wholesale value of $270 million.
When I first got the information from the prosecutor, and I'm listening to what the prosecutors and the FBI agents are telling me, and they're telling me about all these murders, they're talking to me about all the money he's been making, they're talking to me about all of the wheat that's been brought from New York and from other places down to the District of Columbia, and they're showing me the proof that they have and the surveillance and the witnesses' statements, and I'm sitting there and trying to take it all in.
I was putting together an indictment charging Alpo with potential death penalty cases.
They was trying to give me the death penalty. If they couldn't give me the death penalty, they was trying to give me the rest of my natural life in jail. We had murders 2 blocks away from the White House.
And when I got the information, I remember I went back to see him at the jail, and we sat down and I stared at him for about 2 or 3 minutes. I was just shaking my head, and I said to him, you know, I can't believe all what I'm seeing and hearing here.
My lawyer was like, your ace in the hole is, if they ever ask you to tell, you really need to think about that.
Wayne wasn't sure that he was telling.
They knew Alberto, there was a chance of him telling. You know, he wasn't from here. Y'all ain't come out the sandbox together. This business.
But what they were doing was building a case. And Wayne got locked up on a whole nother charge, which right then and there Wayne knew that he was telling because they held Wayne.
I think what was so surprising to them was the ability of Mr. Martinez to recall details and information about transactions.
We believe that as many as 2,000 pounds of cocaine entered this country in a single shipment.
I got this deal coming up with this connect, anywhere from like $6 million worth of coke.
And it was common for traffickers to hand our undercover agents as much as $1.5 million at a time.
I had about 1.5. I put up about 1.5. And I was just telling my little man to put up a $500,000. He tells somebody down in Lawton prison about this deal. Only thing that he didn't know is that my man Wayne found out. My man Wayne is like, this dude is down here talking trash about you and your deal. This is how much anger he built up for me. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, man, we gonna get this dude, but we gotta do this right. We just can't be running up on like that in broad daylight. So I go to Florida Avenue, I go meet my man down there. So as we get in the car, I go to the back and get a revolver from out of the stash. So I pass it to the kids that's sitting behind. So my man, he's sitting in the middle. But he don't know we slipped the revolver to the kid in the back who's gonna hit him in the head. So we run about 5 to 10 minutes after we get the gas. Bang. That's my man hit him. I give the signal to the rearview mirror. So my man hit him. 2 shots in the head. All you hear is, ugh. He winds up shitting on himself from his muscles relaxing. So he's stinking up the car and all that. So we had to find somewhere to dump his body. So we wound up taking him over to this park, 16th Street in Northwest.
I mean, he remembered everything in such great detail.
When I heard about these murders and all that, it was like, nah, man, it can't be talking about the same dude. That just sound like if he was a monster or something, man.
Alpo was the closest thing to Don Corleone, a Godfather guy, that we had. He gave orders, other people killed.
I was called in to have a meeting with the lawyers, which they had showed me the crime scene pictures of all the murders that Wayne was charged with. To have seen some of the murders that were committed, you know, you look at him like, damn, you know, I asked them, what does it feel like after you kill somebody? You know, his response was, some of them, you know, he thought about after. Some of them he regretted.
So my lawyer came back at me. It was like, listen, man, they really want Wayne Perry. They want you too, but they really want Wayne Perry. And if you got anything good on him, they willing to make a deal with you.
Alpo was a smart businessman. He looked at his odds at tangling with the feds and realized that he had more information that he thought he could trade to get him out of this predicament.
I remember that the first meeting that we had with the agents, where he had to sit across the same agents who were prosecuting him, who had arrested him, and who had been investigating him for so long. And now he was like working with them.
Alpo brought to the table that kind of businessman callousness. And so when he's doing a dope deal or deciding whether to kill somebody or not, it was business. That's what drove him. He rarely ever acted out of personal anger or animosity. He made business decisions. When it came to dealing with us, it was the same. He'd already made a decision. Look, let's do a deal. And it's like, he's using his own terms. It's like, let's negotiate a contract. He thought he was like an NBA player. And here we are, sitting down. He wants to play basketball. It's just a matter of negotiating terms of the contract.
Poe was so slick that
he outsmarted them. He just beat them to the chase. He knew that any moment they knew where his money was or whatever, that they didn't need him no more, he would be disposed of too.
He orchestrated the police to come and buy the murder weapons that was involved in his murder. Now, one of the guys that was involved had the weapons, so Poe was corresponding with him from prison, and nobody knew, especially Wayne, that he was setting them up.
He was able to provide enough information to put Mr. Perry at the place of the murder, and also to provide the motive for Mr. Perry to commit the murders.
We had very powerful forensic evidence in Alpo's case, so that time after time after time he would say something happened, the murder happened this way. We had very powerful forensic evidence to document it. We had DNA, we had blood analysis, we had ballistics.
All of these weapons had everybody's fingerprints on it. So with those weapons, they had confiscated the MPV van from in front of my house.
I mean, we were tearing up carpet in a van and finding pools of blood underneath the carpet in the van, subjected to DNA testing, and it was matched to the victim in multiple instances.
And then they had the key witness, which was Alpo. So that was a done deal. Then Wayne was fucked all the way around. Okay, that was the one murder that carried the death penalty.
I'm personally opposed to the death penalty, as I've told the president, but I probably asked for it.
The death penalty was originally for Poe.
When the government came at me, they was trying to give me the death penalty. We got you for this murder, we got you for that murder. This is capital punishment right here. You done.
I will ask for it as I have consistently, and I will advocate for it as the law of the land in particular situations if we can secure such penalties.
She made the decision that we could negotiate the deal with Alpo, take the death penalty off the table.
Wayne told me that this nigga is trying to get these racist motherfuckers to inject me with a needle and kill me.
Once you've taken the position I've taken, you got to tell it all.
Even if the judge wants to give them the most lenient sentence possible, the judge can't get below those mandatory minimum sentences unless, with one exception, unless they snitch. Then it's like a magic key to the jail.
You're facing 7 life counts in D.C. and a consecutive life count in Virginia, plus firearm counts running consecutive. So, if you lie to us, even one time, the deal's off.
Poe let the system rape him and turn him into something that he wasn't. He was a hell of a good dude, you know what I'm saying? But he let the federal government rape him.
There is no other option when you play as hard as he played.
Give or take, if it was Wayne that they caught first, Poe probably would still be out on the streets, because Wayne is a true man to the game. He went out like a soldier.
If you in the street, man, you know that's a no-no, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no getting around it, man. A snitch is a snitch, man. You understand? And if you still in the game, you don't have any other choice. You have to turn your back on him. And he understands that more than anybody.
Once the decision to cooperate was made, there was no turning back.
It came out the 14 murders that I copped out to. When I say copped out to and all that, being in my position and doing what I had to do for me, as far as testifying and all that, I had to confess to those murders. I had to tell those murders.
He never backed down from nothing. He said what he said. He said what he did. You know, he ain't covering up nothing. He ain't bitching up to nothing. He did what he did.
In life, sometimes you make choices, and sometimes those choices are good, and sometimes they're bad.
He wasn't born a killer, but when you're running with killers, you begin to be a killer.
When I asked Al about a particular person that he may have killed, I was hurt when I heard it, and he explained to me that, you know,
sometimes in the game, it's either you or the person. And he said at that time, it had to be the person, or it would have been him.
We received a letter from him. The boys wanted to read it, and we showed it to Adam. First of all, it said, you know, where he was, that he was in jail and how long he was in for and what he'd been up to get there, and that he was very sad and he wished he'd done differently, and that he had good memories of everything that we, you know, that he'd done with us.
The whole 16th Street family and everyone, I wish them a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yeah, I know, look at me. Got these damn antlers on my head. This is what I've been reduced to for Christmas. Yeah, I'm trying to keep the holiday spirit, you know? 11 years, trying to keep it going instead of being a bar humbug.